Thank you, Mr. Yagong. Mr. Greenwell?
Thank you, and thank you all for hearing me. And I do have to apologize first to our chairman for getting as rankled as I did. I want to say to those here and to those who are hearing me, the leading reason why at my age I chose to volunteer to be on this county council and therefore run for election was because of a meeting some time back that had to do with that situation with the people who had to stand in the middle of their living room with no clothes on and be threatened by the police department. And I heard that come up at a council meeting. I watched it on television, and I was absolutely floored. I didn't think that in America that could happen. But what was most flooring to me is that in the following meeting, nothing was done about it. And again, meetings afterwards, nothing was done about it. And one of the people who was at that meeting that when this situation was presented got up and said he was on that raid. And nothing was done about it. No inquiry, no going to court, no county council with the balls enough to get up and say, you, chief, do something about this or we're going to demand your resignation. Nothing was done about it. And Mr. Hoffman here talks about having everybody vote for 3, 4, 5 years down the road when we finally get to it. I have an entirely different sense of leadership. I don't ask all the men in the trenches whether we want to invade yet or not. Have you guys all had your lunch yet? Is it time? Do you guys really feel like we can win this? No. Leadership is about, and the reason why we got elected is to display and demonstrate good sense and good leadership. We don't have time. I don't. I may not be around in another 2 years. And as has been said by Brenda, I might be necessary in 2 years. So let's do this now while the nation is watching us, instead of being one of the 1,000, 3,000 county councils sitting out there going, hey, I don't know whether we want to do this or not, because while everything else piles up around us. Why be the last? Why not get out there and why not be the first? We're going to do it anyway. The wisdom of this land is demonstrated in those people who are left in this room. That's where the wisdom is. What we have to get over is this mindset of control, that we are in control. We're on this runaway potato that's rolling down some floodplain someplace, screeching out about how we're controlling where we're going. No, we're not. We're being washed along in the floodwaters. And we are becoming the victims of our own control. And I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to take back what I said about resigning from this council. And the reason is because of you. I'm not going to be a Sarah Palin. The hell with them if they don't want to vote my way. I'm going to stick with you guys and we're going to get this done. So thanks for being here, and I'll try and calm down in the future. And, sir, I'd like to sign off now.
Thank you, Mr. Greenwell. I do appreciate your words. I think that all of us do. We have Mr. Huffman.
Very briefly, since it's quite late and I'm not going to go through a leadership tutorial, I wish to honor Mr. Greenwell's comparison of not being Sarah Palin. I'm not quite certain that I would ever confuse the two. Under any circumstances, I won't confuse leadership. Leadership in the military, in which I've spent 28 and a half years and have spent considerable time in Vietnam and getting shot at in a couple of other situations, does demand a certain type of leadership. And it doesn't demand people to debate or to decide or to take time to make decisions which have to be made very quickly because people's lives are in danger. But political leadership is not quite the same. It demands a good measure of common sense. It demands some constraint, and it demands that we don't necessarily appeal to the national newspapers, the state media, or any other particular constituency. That's tough. That isn't as easy as it may sound. But it does demand good, capable leadership. The members of this council are able to make that happen. I am not looking at 4 or 5 years ahead because, just like Mr. Greenwell, I'm an old man. Believe it or not, I turn the same age he is right now next month. So he doesn't have me by much. But I assure you that my effort is to decide this particular thing on the ballot this year because we have to go to vote. So it's not a 5-year effort down the road. It is moving ahead, I hope. And I will work with Mr. Yagong and anyone else on this council, as we already have a draft proposal. By the way, Dominic, you may not be aware that our office submitted about a month ago or 3 weeks ago in order to try to get this on the ballot, and it's been turned back, as I say, for good and sufficient reason. We got to work with this. But under no circumstances do I consider leadership in the military to be quite the same as leadership here on this council. And I just want to make clear that we don't decide to compare or try to make the two appeal to you in good presentations like this. There is a difference and a distinction. I thank Mr. Greenwell for his withdrawal of his threat to resign. I don't know what the heck I would do if he didn't sit next to me during the course of these meetings. I'm not certain I would enjoy this council as much as I do right now. So, Kelly, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have to say.